RV Capital Talks brought to you by Dicor, at the core of everything you do. Hey, welcome to RV Capital Talk. I'm Andy McCaskey from RVing TV, and welcoming Mr. Sherman Goldenberg is already hitting the coffee.
All day. I've been hitting the coffee because
you're just back from a big trip.
I'm just back from RVI Committee Week, which is in large part the reason that we have today as our guest James Ashurst, Vice President of our RVIA. Welcome, James.
Well, hey Sherm, how are you? Hey Andy, thanks for having me back.
RVI Committee Week, for those who haven't participated, is a really interesting battery of meetings of really a wide variety, mostly committees of RVIA, but also at the same time the Go RVing Coalition, you know, an all-industry panel meets there as well, and at the same time RVDA, Recreation Vehicle Dealers Association, in separate location, has its meeting. So it's for the industry, it's the #1 coming together as far as industry intelligence, you know, clearly of the year. And for me, it's always a treat. James has two hats here. James is a Vice President of Public Relations and Advertising for RVIA. At the same time, he's the liaison for RVIA with the Go RVing Coalition, which they administer. So let's talk first about the Go RVing Coalition, which met Monday afternoon.
That's correct.
June 11th. How did those meetings go, James?
I thought the meetings went really well. We had great participation there. We had really strong turnout from members both in RVDA as well as RVIA, as well as several state associations. And we had a great discussion. We had a lot to report, a lot to cover, the new Away campaign being in market. So it was really nice to have that group there so we could share some good news about early returns, if you will, in the way of success from the new campaign. So that was really good.
The report that we posted moments ago on rvbusiness.com gave the campaign solid marks based on information from you, from co-chairman Tom Stinnett and Bob Olson. Tell us a little bit about that, you know, what I would call an interim report on the year's campaign.
Well, as you know, Sherm, we at the end of any campaign run, we do an exhaustive media analysis of the overall advertising effectiveness. But at committee week, we were able to report during the coalition meeting some early measures of success. We found that visits to GoRVing.com are up 16% versus 2011. Our page views are up 34% versus 2011, which really shows that the consumer is spending more time on the site, engaging in different areas of the site. And as it pertains to consumer leads, we've seen an increase of roughly 80%, 79% versus 2011. So, you know, we're out in the field with the new campaign creative and with our new advertising messaging, and the early returns are really strong. So that was great to report back to the coalition members that we were being good stewards of the funds they've entrusted with us.
Is there, as you look at those metrics, and it sounds like they're up and to the right, but is there one that you think is particularly significant that people should really say, this is something that hasn't happened before that this campaign uniquely contributes?
Well, you know, Andy, that's a good question. You know, we put together an overall media plan each year, and we like to think that, you know, each category is gonna do a good job of both building awareness as well as driving leads. I'd have to say that one area that we're particularly pleased with is how our partnerships have worked out. You may recall that we entered into some partnerships with MLB Network, also with GAC, Great American Country, and also Outdoor Channel. And in those partnerships, we actually had a sweepstakes where in one we gave away a travel trailer provided by Lance, and the other a folding camping trailer provided by Somerset. And the initial returns from that, or I should say the returns from that, were just phenomenal. We had over 800,000 entries into those sweepstakes. And in addition to making those entries, the consumer took the next step, and we got 46,000 leads from those two partnerships. So what I think those showed was that we were doing a good job of extending the Go RVing brand beyond just what we've done in the traditional ad space in the past. And it's really put us in a good position, I think, to expand upon partnerships as we look to 2013. It's a lot easier to build new partnerships when you've got strong examples like this to take to potential partners to show them that we're indeed a brand that can deliver for them, as well as use their assets to help drive interest in RVing.
Andy, I've got a question, but knowing you also have something to insert at this time.
Time for a break, and we'll be back in just a moment.
RV Capital Talks brought to you by the Dicor Corporation. Dicor Corporation is 4 specialized companies serving the RV industry. Dicor Products, United Shade, Seal Design, and Vixen Composites. Whether it's RV wheels, walls, shades, seals, or other specialty products, Dicor Corporation is at the core of everything you do.
Welcome back. In both the Public Relations Committee meeting and in the Coalition meeting, those in attendance were treated to looks at Public Relations campaign. Now we're switching hats, as I said we'd do, to mainstream RVIA business. Public Relations is mainstream RVIA, although it's hard sometimes to separate in perception the Go RVing Coalition and RVIA. But those in attendance would have seen a cavalcade of impressions of shows, of interviews by Richard Kuhn, on ABC and all kinds of things, which made it appear to me, James, that public relations is also going well, is in decent hands in a year of transition.
We think that PR has been really strong for us this year. It was well documented that we made some changes in our approach to how we handled PR. But thus far, the uptick that we've seen, the continued growth in the RV industry has helped to fuel some really positive pieces. As you mentioned, ABC News just recently did a national piece that talked about the advantages of RVing, showed a young couple in a Jayco unit. We partnered with a dealership in California in arranging that segment. Richard Kuhn was on Fox Business just before Memorial Day weekend, talking about all the advantages of RVing, the flexibility of today's RVs. And we've also had numerous print stories run, a recent Associated Press story that was syndicated out to hundreds of newspapers that talked about, despite the fluctuations in gas prices, that RVs are continuing to grow, and more consumers are looking at RV vacations as a very attractive way to travel with their families. So we've been very pleased. And we think that as we continue through summer, you're going to see more and more stories generated in the press, really espousing all the virtues of RV travel.
Alluding to that transition, James, the people who pitch, that's always the word in public relations circles, these stories to the mainstream press, the faces are different this year.
They're a little different, indeed. We did make some changes in terms of the structure in that space. We still manage all of our PR efforts here from RVIA's headquarters, both on behalf of RVIA and Go RVing. But we have a couple of external consultants who do work for us. One, John Tancredi, many in the industry will remember, he was with the former agency that we worked with. He has started his own PR agency, TPR, out of Philadelphia. So John's been a fantastic asset for us and has been working for us here most recently. In addition, Diane McNamara is a consultant out of Boston who does work for us She's somebody that I worked with in a previous life at Travel Channel for many years, and she's fantastic in terms of working with lifestyle media as well as broadcast outlets across the entertainment space. So they've been a great addition to our internal efforts and have been largely responsible for much of the success that we've seen this year.
Not to beat it to death, but basically the shift is from an agency of record status to what you call external consultants.
That's correct. We don't have an exclusive agreement with any agency right now. So these folks that are working for us are also able to work for other clients. You may even see them do some work for other people in the industry as long as it doesn't create any type of conflict of interest. So it's a different approach. It allows us to be a bit more nimble. It allows us to have more direct management of our PR funds on a day-to-day basis so that we can better evaluate opportunities. Sherm, as you well know, being a media person yourself, that landscape can be ever-changing and fluid. So being able to be more nimble, being able to utilize funds or not utilize funds, depending on what's going on, I think is a good model for us to follow moving forward, especially as I talked earlier, as we look to more partnerships, because while most of those have been focused on more advertising to this point, I think you'll see as we move into 2013, there'll be a lot more PR components to those as well, whether it be partnerships or events.
One more direction I'd like to go, and pardon me, Andy, for stepping in on this one, is a new creative. In our last stop in this interview, the new creative seems to be selling well among the members, among the coalition people, and you know, to be just a little bit self-promotional, RVbusiness.com did a survey. It's all industry Blue Ox survey, and found what 65% of the industry finds it very appealing. There's very little dissent on this. There seems to be a sense that with this new lifestyle imagery, we're moving forward.
Well, yeah, we kept a keen eye. You're not being self-serving, Sherman. We kept a keen eye on your survey that you did with Blue Ox, and you know, we were very pleased to get those types of numbers. You know, to see, you know, there are a couple people campaigning for national office right now who would love to see 65% favorable ratings. So we were really pleased with that, and we think that the new creative really gets back to that emotional appeal that really resonates with consumers. And so, again, we were pleased to have such great participation in creating the ads from the members of the coalition, and it was great to see the positive feedback from the coalition when we unveiled them in Louisville, and it's great to see the industry on the whole receive the ads so favorably.
So, thank you, James. Andy, why don't you take us away here?
Well, I think that's it. James, thanks for joining us this afternoon, and thanks to all of you for joining us here on RV Capital Talk.